Good morning, Your Excellency. Thank you for taking the time to meet here today with members of the press, researchers, and writers who have joined us from all over the world for the commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi. Mr. President, we are ready to begin by taking questions from the press. We could take one at a time. Any questions? Let's start with Ben, citizen.
Murakoze Chane, Your Excellency. My name is Ben Kirui from Citizen TV, Kenya. And I have two questions for you. The first one is, to what extent is the international community culpable for its lack of intervention during Rwanda's darkest hour, especially given the catastrophic failure to prevent the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi? My second question is, given that some perpetrators of the horrific acts during the genocide against the Tutsi remain unpunished, can victims and survivors maintain hope for achieving justice? That's it. Murakoze.
Well, the two questions really which speak directly to the problems we had in '94, but of course which have a history that go back decades. Still, I'll confine myself to these questions because both of them have been answered in many ways in the past, many times. And for Rwanda, we've, I think, made progress and left some of the underlying issues to these questions were behind us. Whether the international community was responsible, to what extent, and so on and so forth, well, they have been responsible. To what extent, you can say to a great extent. But that's it. For us, we learned our lessons of how to manage ourselves and our affairs and stop being part of the harm we do or did to ourselves. Because the international community will do things that are not correct against you or will do harm to you. That's okay, but let it be their own choice without having to be enticed by your own mistakes. So we tend to look more on our side. What is it that put us in this kind of situation in the first place, where the international community may have added to the problem, or they were part of the origin of the problem. But if we did things, if we were right ourselves and didn't give grounds to this international community, maybe they wouldn't be blamed or pointed or having our fingers pointed to them. So, and for the people who are all over the place who committed or who took part in the genocide, they are there. We have interacted with those people that hosted them. We have done it for many years. Some efforts have succeeded, most of them have not. But those people and whatever is happening should not stop our lives running the way our lives should run. So really that is all. This mainly comes up when questions like you have raised come up from other people, but they don't occupy us on a daily basis thinking about them. Yeah.
Thank you. Kigali Today.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name is Edmund Kajira. I work for Kigali Today. Mr. President, what is your message to the people who continue to be vague and ambiguous about who the victims were in Rwanda? A good example is a message by Secretary Blinken. He talks about remembering Hutus, Twas, and all those three tribes. And in your discussion with President Clinton, did you touch this issue, considering that the US is among the countries who can't name it properly? Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, we had broad discussions with former President Bill Clinton and his delegation. The delegation, United States sent a delegation here to be with us on this 30th Kwibuka, and they decided to designate not so long ago things about democracy, human rights, freedoms, everything that we are thought not to have at all in our country. So our country actually wrote a letter back to the US. I'm the one who authored that. And what I asked them, what I told them is twofold. One, I told them that United States or any government of any country have the freedom to tell us whatever they want to tell us, even if whether we are happy about it or not, that's no problem. And we're always going to absorb whatever is brought our way. But I also told the more important thing was, the second point for me was, but on this commemoration day, we are grateful when you commemorate with us. But for these other points you are trying to make to us, we have one ask that is important to us. In the letter we told them, feel free to commemorate with us if you want. And feel free also to tell us whatever you don't like about us. But our ask is one. When it is the day of commemoration, which is the 7th of April, can you be kind enough to commemorate with us and stop there? And there are 365 days in a year. Give us that day of 7th of April, commemorate with us, and then you can have the rest 364 days blaming us every day for everything you don't like about us. Just separate these two things. Commemorate with us for one day, blame us for the rest of the days of the year. I thought it was a fair deal and a fair ask. So for me, that problem was solved that day. These others that come after and will come in the future, I have no problem.
Thank you, sir. Let's have another question, Al Jazeera, and then we'll come back to SABC.
Good morning, Your Excellency. My name is Laith from Al Jazeera. Earlier in interview, Your Excellency described some politics in the region be primitive, based on ethnics. I'm in Rwanda only since a few weeks, and I noticed that the level of the stability in the country. And so my question is, how does Rwanda manage political strategy with the neighboring to maintain the achievement since 1994? Thank you.
Thank you. We do what we can, what is possible, and we don't do it alone. We try and do it with those countries, neighboring countries and beyond. But there are priorities. Those are the ones we stick to. First is to address our internal issues that either relate to our history or even to our geography, and do the best we can, humanly can, to create a stable country, to have our citizens get the best they can give themselves, or working together we can offer each other, and it's security, it's socio-economic development, it's always adding to bringing the country back together in the form of unifying the people, even in their differences, still look at each other as belonging to the same country towards which we can contribute the best we can individually and then collectively. That's the foundation. Of course, there is no country that is going to be an island. None. No country in the world decide to say, I will be on my own, I live alone, the rest can go hang. So we try to find common interest and understanding between us, and beginning with the neighbors and beyond, well beyond. That we try as well. And in this we try to make sure that other partners or other people feel comfortable with us, or what they get with us when they have, without really interfering in their own business. But it is in the same way that we also feel that partners should be doing with us what is in line with our interests, policy, understanding of who we want to be, how we want to get there, and so on and so forth. There is ownership of what we want to do, much as we work with others. So we try that as much as possible. But of course, in the end, there will be problems where the problems are originating from us. We own up and ask people what they think those problems are, and we try to address them. When the problems are coming from those others we have to relate with, we also very clearly let them know what we think those problems are that we are being affected by, and if they can change, then it improves our relationship. So we've really done a lot, at least made progress, invested a lot in trying to resolve our internal issues. We still have a lot. The country needs to do more, do better all the time, but we have made good progress. So what we have in the region currently, and which maybe refers to part of what you said about primitive politics, I said that relating to what situation you have in our region, where seeks to divide the people either of a country or a region. In fact, based on ethnic or religious or other reasons, you cannot govern effectively and stably. You can't have stability when you divide people, when you discriminate people, when you and this is, I could not find a better word to run a society or a government on the basis of a division of tribes or ethnic groups or this, and in our case, having gone to the extreme, even here in '94, as you remember, it is, I could not find a better word other than being primitive. Primitive. You are not, how do you divide people? How do you practice sectarianism or racism, or where do we see it in history that it has served well in a society? That's what I was referring to, because we have a lot of it in the region, especially in the recent days, as we have seen. So I was not only explaining that so that people may give it consideration to avoid very huge and costly problems that are born out of it.
Thank you, sir. SABC, Sophie.
Sophie Mkwena from the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Mr. President, yesterday we spoke to President Cyril Ramaphosa, who said you had a marathon meeting on Saturday night. You also have the former South African president in the country who joined yesterday. Were you able to raise issues that we spoke about on Thursday in relation to Rwanda's relationship with South Africa, particularly the issue of the DRC? Thank you so much.
We could not have spent hours, the President of South Africa and I, meeting and definitely not talk about that. It featured, and I think we had a very good discussion, very good understanding of the situation, and maybe the best ways we can work together to resolve that. I was satisfied. So And it seems your interview also helped the discussion you had and the questions you asked maybe informed all of us and prepared us for that discussion. So we had even a reference point. So we definitely did discuss that, and I'm satisfied. I hope the President himself is satisfied that we can make good progress on a number of fronts to resolve the issues.
Sir, if you allow, we can take one last question.
No, but I see many people here wanting to...
Okay. We can take Kagabo and then come to...
No, but don't concentrate on people here. There are people from outside who are here. You are being sectarian.
Let's take Asahi and then...
Only.
Let's take Asahi and then we'll take Margot. And then we can take from this side.
Okay, thank you, President. My name is Susumi Maizumi, working for Japanese newspaper Asahi. So with regard to the presence of Asian country, including Japan, maybe especially Japan, so what kind of relationship would you like to build in the future with Asian countries?
We actually have a very good relationship with the Asian countries, and a relationship that is very productive, that is very meaningful to our development as a country, and I hope meaningful to those countries as well from our side. So we do. And the good thing is, it's actually it's a healthier relationship with those Asian countries. They don't come with, well, some of them have started learning to do that, but largely it's respectful, it's very beneficial. They don't come with all kinds of demands that we must address like we have in some other types of relationships. So it's there, we want it to grow, and it's healthy.
Thank you, sir. We can take Margot and then somewhere in the back and here. We'll come to you.
Good morning, Your Excellency, and thank you. I'm Margot Solinas from the French media ITEM, and I had two questions for you about, first, the French presidency leaked last Thursday a piece of the speech of Emmanuel Macron that he was supposed to pronounce yesterday, but the video that was actually released elsewhere and the speech didn't match with what was announced. Plus, Emmanuel Macron was supposed to come, and finally he cancelled. I wanted to know if whether there has been a problem because of the French position doesn't sound like really clear at the moment. And my second question is about the fact that Rwandese soldiers have been sent to Mozambique in 2021 in the aim to help and strengthen Mozambican and Rwandan relationship. But how did it also strengthen the relationship between Rwanda and France at the moment?
Right. As far as I'm concerned, our relationship between Rwanda and France is good and has been good in the recent days. Of course, behind that, there is this long history of problems relating to what happened in our country in the last 30 years. So my feeling up to now is we've made progress. But there are still people maybe in the political and other structures of France that are held back by what happened in history, still living politically in the past, we can only be making progress on the basis of people who want to look forward and we move forward together. So I don't know the proportions with this, with that, I don't know. But to make the judgment, I think the people of France are reasonable people and we can work together. Sometimes the politicians are the ones that are at issue. So I heard about that, the contradictions in the settlements or this, or watering down this, but that's all about it. I heard that happened, but I really, for me, I'm focused on the good things that can happen if we relate well and make progress. These small issues, I think, will be there, even if you are talking about the head of state having done this and that. But still, that's not for me to dwell on and talk about. Maybe when you get an opportunity and speak to him when you get back, you may ask him. He may give you a better answer than I am capable of giving you. But for us, we are still on the side of wanting to continue making progress, irrespective of the bad history we have had. For Mozambique, we got involved in Mozambique with the understanding and invitation of our brothers and sisters in Mozambique. And we've been there doing what we can and working with the Mozambicans to rein in the insecurity that was there for a couple of years. And I think good progress has been made also. How the French come into this, as you asked, maybe is related to what you might be having in mind because they have investments there. Like other countries have. In fact, there are many countries that have these investments, heavy investments in Mozambique. Either these countries working together and through their companies or different ways. Where it is France, it is the United States, it is India, it is Japan, it's Korea, it's there are many who are there, working there. So naturally, the investments have to be made in a stable environment. And since we are there contributing to the stability of the area where these countries are making investment, we have discussions, we talk to each other. In our contribution, and their investments there, we have good discussions and understanding of how we can continue to stabilize that area. That's the main thing they can say, France linking through Mozambique.
Thank you, sir. We take 2-3 more questions.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, we'll go with Francois and then David and then come to AP.
Good morning, Excellency. My name is Jean-François Dupaquier from Africa, Arabia. If you watch at the French-speaking press in recent days, you see a lot of articles in favor of Rwanda. Anyhow, there is often an incidental headline that asks the question, but who is Kagame really? The propaganda of your enemies, particularly in Congo, describe you as a cruel and bloodthirsty tyrant. Do you try to change this image? For example, in most of your official photographs, you look severe and distant. This can contribute to fueling controversy. Why don't you wear a slight smile like all your fellow presidents around the world? Do you ultimately like or dislike being fed, sometimes hated, in the Western world? Thank you.
Good. I think you have summarized well the questions that have been there but not asked directly. For the smile, I think I have to borrow either some talent or actually directly the smile from some people. But the fact that it is, the smile is lacking on me is not my making. Maybe it happens accidentally. But very interesting way of putting your question. I try to answer it this way. Starting with who is me, who is the person. I have me is the person you see. I'm not hiding anything. What you see in me is what I am. If you are just going by the looks or by whatever, or what I do more, I think is what may describe me than my physical looks. So I wanted to say what you see is what you get with me. In most cases, in words or in deeds, they relate. My deeds and my words tend to relate. My looks may be different from that, may be different from my deeds and how I think. But in any case, isn't the description of the looks also subjective? There are people who see me as through the looks as a terrible person. There might be others who say, after all, there's nothing bad looking like that. So it's subjective. But to the point you're making about tyrant or cruel or... You see, you can't be bad to that extent. Cruel or a tyrant or bloodthirsty or whatever, and hide it. It's difficult. Even if you try to hide it, there is a moment it betrays you. And that also, once it has come out or once it is not there, you register the feeling, the description, from people who have to deal with you. If I was some of the things people have said about me or described me as, I mean, the judgment is out there, either for the people of this country or other people somewhere else. And it wouldn't just be confined to the press. because the press is full of individuals. But these individuals don't add up to a population that is as big as Rwanda's, even if Rwanda is very small. These are just individuals. 5 in France, 10 in America, 3 in China, 2 in Belgium, and so on and so forth. If you add all of them up, and they are even all negative and saying things about me, surely these can't be the people that are right and the rest wrong. But they only take advantage of the platform they have, they're able to command some voice that they put out there for people to, even people who don't know what you're talking. There are many people who even don't know about Kagame and get to know him by what a journalist has said, or one in the press has said. And in many cases, in my experience, some of them have started by hearing what the journalist said, and they ended up saying, but we've been told lies, when they come to know this through other means, either by direct contact or visit or whatever, and interaction with other people who know this person that has been talked about. They may say, this person told us lies. And consistently, over many years, has been telling us lies. What we saw, what we heard, whether it is this city, whether it is the person, whether it is this. They say, no, but what we are being told is completely different from what we have seen or experienced. So, and of course, there is a particularity with the Western press. The Western press, I mean, you will find out there are things that were said about this country 30 years ago, 25 years ago, that are being repeated now, which means, according to them, nothing has changed. They talk about Rwanda, very poor population. We are poor. We are not where the developed countries are, for sure. But this poverty, the way it was in 1995, in 2000, is not the way it is in 2024. But somebody will keep writing in the press, like what we have today is the same thing as we had 25 years ago, and keep just rubbing it in. You know, even the Kagame and his looks and so on, I've been trying, in recent days, I've been trying with a smile. Maybe it's not a good smile, but I've been trying. So the Kagame you saw in 95, in 94, 2000, anyway, there was no smile. There was nothing to smile about, so I didn't smile. But now, with some progress, I can afford some smile once in a while. So if somebody thinks, like that, I have even grown gray hair. Last time I had black, my hair was black, and now it is gray. It is actually disappearing. I may be bald. But so if you think the Kagame you saw 20 years ago is the same now, no, it is a misrepresentation. But even then, that time, I looked different, and the press may not have liked the way I look, but the situation that time maybe looked like that itself. So I can't be in a heap of dirt and then I'm smiling. I mean, that's a lie. I would be a liar. I would be pretending. I would actually be having some problems with me to pretend that everything is okay around me when everything is bad. So, finally, the Kagame you see, or there, or you like, or you don't like, is going to be there anyway. I don't need anybody to like me or to hate me to live my life. I live my life whether you like me or you don't like me. And I have my views, I express them, I will do things, I do. So I owe my living to not a single individual or country, even if powerful ones. No, we are all human beings created, sometimes they say, by God. I don't know, maybe we are there for something. But so for somebody to have powers over me, that one I can tell you is not possible. Even the most powerful didn't create me. Who created them, first of all? And we are all here just temporarily. If we are lucky, we live up to 100 years. Those are the luckiest. You know? So the one who is saying all that has also his time, and he'll go like all of us. Everyone has their day. So that's why I can't accept that anyone who has powers over somebody else to the point of dictating. Even the most powerful don't have power over us, how we live, how we do. So, but the Kagame has been shaped by that philosophy, that understanding, that, well, I try like any human being and do my best, do what I can do what I have to do. I may have flaws, make mistakes, own up and do good things, benefit others. And so I'm that person. Tell those people that actually to know me is not complicated. It's straightforward. It's me. Then other things we can discuss on the side. But that was a very powerful question.
Thank you, sir. We can take from Amu, who's just next to Francois. And then...
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Amu Kanampili from AFP. My question is about the March 23 movement in Eastern DRC. Your government has previously denied backing the movement. Does that denial still stand a year and a half later? And what is the current relationship between Rwanda's government and the M23? Thank you.
Well, those who accuse us, I would ask them why they actually don't support M23 themselves, including AFP, as a journalist. Why don't you support M23? Or why is the question, you support M23 or you don't support M23? First of all, what is M23? M23 is an organization born in and out of Congo. That's number one. Number two, These are Congolese. And you will hear even Congo admit it. Now, why do they exist? Why are they fighting? Why do they have arms? Is another question. It is also a simple question. They exist because they have been denied their rights as citizens of that country. They are called Tutsis of Rwanda. Fine. But then you need to be educated also a little bit about history. We have Rwandan communities in Congo who are Congolese, and by the way, these are not just Tutsis, it is the same social structure of a country that is also there in Congo. Like, in fact, we have other neighboring countries where they are, but they are citizens of those countries. We have 100,000 people originating from this community, 100,000 who have been living here in Rwanda in refugee camps for the last 2 decades. Why? Because they are being uprooted from their ancestral homes, persecuted, and sent across. In fact, there are more in Uganda. There are 300, there's 100,000 here, there are hundreds of thousands there in Uganda, more numbers. So M23 is born out of that situation. That's why I asked the question. I said, well, why wouldn't anybody else, why are we being accused as Rwanda of supporting M23? And I'm saying even those who accuse us, actually I should accuse them of not supporting M23 because it is as if they agree with the injustice that is being done to this community. Otherwise, if you didn't agree with that injustice, you would be actually raising questions. Why these people of M23 being treated like this? Why are we having 100,000 refugees here in Rwanda? That's where you would start from. Are you supporting M23 or not? Are you still denying it? Because you are asking the wrong question. The issue is not whether anybody supports M23 or not. The issue is, what is actually the problem of M23? That's the question you should have asked, in fact. What is the problem? What is this thing called M23? Are they human beings? Are they this? Are they Rwandans? Are they Congolese? Are they that? Why? Why do they exist? Why do they even have arms and are fighting? The right question that I should be asked. So whether Rwanda supports or associated in any way is actually immaterial. It is irrelevant to the question. Or even you, if you want to educate yourself or educate the public, the question should have been simple. Ask me, by the way, what do you understand the M23 to be? What is it? That's a fair question. That's the one I would wish to be associated with rather than whether I support or not support.
So we may take the last question, David.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Dupaquier talked about the image. I've been traveling through the continent and school of doing things, a new school of making politics and transforming our society for the best, for peace, stability, and economical progress. For the past 30 years, you have succeeded to build a modern state, offering to Rwandese people a safe space to build their own lives and achieve their personal dreams. How do you see Rwanda for the 30 others coming years?
Well, we keep making progress and be where others are that they have even taken for granted. And when you see developed countries, why can't Rwanda or Africa develop to that extent or beyond? What is lacking? So, but what you have to deal with is the right politics in place, management of society and enabling society to do what they need or have to do to take them to a much higher level in terms of development than where they are. So really that is the aspiration for all of us, even as leaders, and I'm sure individual Rwandans, everyone wants to see development. They want to see us, because we are human beings. Human beings, we can't have allow this disparity, and some have been designated to remain backward, poor, undeveloped, and yet we are sitting on immense resources that actually other people who are developed are coming to help themselves with and taking away. And for us, we are there watching and not doing anything about it. So the Rwanda of the next 30 years should be maybe 3, 4, 5 times better than what you see now. 30 years from our graves to being here, I think another 30 years. We are not coming from the graves. This time we are coming from some level of progress that we have made.
Thank you, sir. We may conclude here.
Right.
We'd like to thank you for your time with us and wish you a good day.
Unfortunately, I couldn't take all the questions, but I'm happy to meet you another time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.